happy to be here.
Wonderful. Let's get this started then. We'll get hands up for questions. I'll come around with the microphone. Let's kick off straight over here.
Let's do it. Let's get the elephant out of the room already.
Yeah.
A certain contract's due up at the end of the month. Have you made a decision on what you're going to be doing next?
I have 75% made a decision. That doesn't mean it's a full decision.
See you on the 29th.
The most I can say right now, and this may disappoint some people.
Please don't go there.
If some of you guys are subscribers to the network and you're looking forward to something happening or not happening on the 29th,
It's my birthday, the 29th. Please.
Come on!
I'm not sure if I can pull a rabbit out of the hat by that date. That's all I can say for now. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. I'm not saying anything. I'm just... That might be asking too much at this point in time. Yeah. And that's literally the most news I've given anyone up to this point. But yeah.
Still, you're 40 to 1 to win it.
What's that?
You're 40 to 1 to win it.
If I'm in it though, I'm pretty sure I'm winning the whole thing. So.
Okay, next question. What do we have? Yes, down here. Hello.
If you could pick any wrestler in the world at the moment to have a match with, who would it be and why?
Very good. Whoop.
I'm dead. Oh, hello. Very good question. Just for some clarification, do they have to be an active wrestler?
Well, maybe one active and one who's not active.
One active, one active. Okay. I would love to have. Okay, you know, I'm gonna do. It's really tough because I'm like sort of a multi-talented individual. I don't always like having serious matches. In fact, I hate having serious matches, if I'm gonna be honest. So I'd like to say, if I'm gonna have like, you know, a workhorse type match, I would love to have a match with someone like, you know, Mick Foley or Shawn Michaels or even like a Kurt Angle. However, I also love telling interesting stories. So I would love, and someone said it, I'd love to have a big match with Vince McMahon. Or someone like, you know, Hulk Hogan in his prime. I would love to do stuff like that. Just stuff that's entertaining and fun to watch. Not necessarily something really athletic where I'm dying.
Right, who's up next? And the back here. Yes.
Oh, you know what? I'm an idiot. And this is almost would be the entire motivation of going there. I just really want to work AJ Styles at WrestleMania, guys. If I'm just going to be truthful, that's really before he hangs it up and before I start to degenerate as an athlete. I really want to have a big match with him on the biggest stage possible. So that is a career goal of mine.
Hi.
Hello.
My question is about the G1.
Sure.
And I just wanted to know, because I heard in the podcast that you heard that you were going to win it when you fought Naito.
Yes.
I just wanted to know, like, as regards the Japan office, do they, before the tournament starts, do they know who's going to win it? Or is it something they decide as the tournament progresses, who gets over?
That is the greatest mystery of all. Us as foreigners, we don't know. We're never really clued in on anything. I suppose it might be different for the people that are native to the country and live there, but the foreigners are always kept in the dark. I don't know why that is. It could be a trust thing. Could just be that a lot of people aren't there full time. I was one of the full-time guys So I wasn't so much on the outside looking in, but I still get grouped in with the other foreigners as being sort of an outside guy.
Or do you just speak Japanese?
And of course, I do speak Japanese. But nonetheless, I guess I'm just regarded as kind of like a Bullet Club guy. And we're sort of kind of kept apart from everything a little bit.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Okay, next question. Over here.
Hi, yeah. What's your aspirations outside of wrestling?
Ooh, very good question. Well,
Street fight.
to be honest, this is, it's so strange looking back and saying this now. I actually didn't know what my 2016 would look like, what I would be able to accomplish, what I'd be able to do. Especially after I had lost the Intercontinental title. I thought that was it for me. So I really wanted to cross over and get more into professional gaming. Not necessarily as an actual top pro level player, but as a top celebrity player. I have a passion for gaming, and I like to play games at the highest level possible when I do play. So being able to participate in tournaments and just be a feature, even as a celebrity or in exhibition matches, I don't know, it's really cool, and I love being a part of that world just as much as I love being a part of the wrestling world. So that was a goal. I'm not sure how many events I can make this year, but you know, I've been in contact with people, and I'm going to try and do that more and more in 2017 as well.
Let's head over this side.
Yeah, and I'm also going to make sure that regardless of where I end up, I'm going to crash the party of Xavier Woods at some point again this year. It's going to happen. Next question.
Kenny, very quickly before I ask my question, I heard something a few weeks ago. Is it true that you can nail a version of Don't You Forget About Me? Because Sam Roberts on his podcast said that the first time he ever saw you was at Jersey City Pro Wrestling. He didn't know who you are at all. It was your last night. And he said as you walked by him, you were singing it as you were walking out the door.
Oh, that's true. I can't remember, but it sounds like something I would have done. And I would have done it on a microphone, though. I don't think I would have done it, you know, walking out the door or whatever.
I think that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
Because you knew you were kind of moving on kind of thing. So.
Oh, yeah.
Very quickly then, my question, just as you were talking about earlier about the aspirations of maybe what's next.
Right.
With what New Japan are doing next, is there a part of you that feels like you could be part of the start of maybe something they're doing? Is that what's maybe kind of keeping you kind of, with the fact that you've kind of entwined into Japanese culture the way you are as well?
This might sound like egotistical, maybe, but I guess I know my own worth. I know what I'm capable of. And I'm at a position right now where I don't think they can make a global run unless I'm at the helm. So it's tough because, you know, you might have, you know, your own dreams, your own aspirations, and this timing's always a big thing in any career or in any big decision in your life. So it's now that I'm, you know, red hot, do I take an offer that's on the table, or do I go where I'm needed most? Ooh, such a tough question. You can't really answer. There's no wrong answer. There's no right answer. And that's why I'm in the predicament that I am in today. So, yes, to answer your question, I do feel that I could lead New Japan to bigger things. Of course, I'm not stupid enough to think that, you know, we could take on WWE head on and win because they're too big of a monster. But I do believe that right now people are thinking there is no option. If you want to watch wrestling, the only way to do it is to watch WWE. It's the only place to watch the top quality wrestling. Back in the day, you know, when I was getting into the business, you could watch Pro Wrestling Noah. You could watch Ring of Honor Wrestling, and you know, a lot of people would say, you know, the best wrestling in the world is actually Ring of Honor. You know, and then there was a time period where if you want to watch the best wrestling in the world, you have to watch PWG. And then, there are a lot of guys in the UK coming up. You guys might have good guys in America, but we have, a guy like Will Ospreay or Marty Scurll or whatever, and the list goes on and on and on. Things were more divided, but now as we enter 2017, it's becoming more and more, you want to see the best guys, just watch WWE, that's it. And I think that as long as I'm in the forefront and I have what I believe are the most talented individuals around me and I mix with them, I can show the world that there's an actual legitimate option that not only competes at WWE, but is actually better than anything they can do. And I don't mean like, well, you could go either way. And this was kind of the start of it from the G1 up until Tokyo Dome. I'm trying to show that no matter who they put in the ring, and no matter what the combination is, what the gimmick is, it's not going to be better than Kenny Omega when he's in Kenny Omega mode. However, Kenny Omega in WWE would also be pretty good. But that's what makes it so tough. Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry to drag that out.
No worries. It's kind of actually I was looking for, so thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Who's up next? Let's head over here. Sorry.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
My question will be, who do you feel would be the most suitable next head of the Bullet Club?
In New Japan? Me. No, I mean, the Young Bucks and I, we always have such wacky ideas, and we always say to ourselves, like, man, why don't we just book our own thing? And, we would come up with the wackiest stuff. And, maybe it's only wacky and cool in our own minds, but, yeah. I do think that whoever takes over the book when it's time, they have to have a very worldwide knowledge about pro wrestling. It can't just be, I understand strong style, or I want to just mimic what WWE does and kind of just insert our Japanese guys into what they do. It has to be someone that understands wrestling as a whole. They have to understand all forms and mediums of entertainment. What is cool in the theaters, what is cool on TV, what is cool on YouTube. And you have to take little things from that and kind of mix it all into one interesting package. That's why I think it's me. But we'll see what happens. I mean, Gato's, he's kind of getting up there, but I don't think he's going to let go of the book anytime soon.
Excellent. Who's up next? Let's head all the way over here.
Obviously, the Okada match was superb. Possibly the best ever.
Thank you.
What do you think would be your best ever, in your opinion? And also, what do you think is your best ever match as a viewer?
As a viewer? Ooh. Okay, I will be a little... Believe it or not, as a viewer, I honestly do believe that the best match is the match with the little girl.
Yes.
You can show it to, and it's the kind of match where you can show it to anybody. They don't have to be a fan of professional wrestling, but you know what? They could be a fan of professional wrestling. And even the people that have, something like ADD, they can't watch anything over 5 minutes. The match is freaking 3.5 minutes. Everyone loves to laugh. Everyone loves a grown man beating up a little girl. Deep down inside, you know it. No, I'm just kidding about that part. But perhaps the opposite is true. It is always funny to see, a grown man bully get beat up by a little girl or anything. It's the same reason why a movie like Rush Hour works. Yeah, maybe a movie where Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, it would be funny if it was, it'd be great if they were completely serious from start to finish. But you know what? I think they reached more people by making it an action comedy. And that's why that match, I think, works in the realm of pro wrestling and just entertainment. So if I ever wanted to show a match to my parents, my uncle, my aunt, my great-grandma, I would probably show them that. I wouldn't show them me getting launched through a table like 20 feet in the air. There's no way they would like that. It's something that I think will just be universally fun for everyone. Because at the end of the day, people do like watching epic encounters. However, I think people more than that like to laugh. And that's always the most important thing.
Thank you.
All right, next up. Just on here.
Hello. Who in Japan that you didn't get a chance to work with but you would like to?
Ishii. Yeah. I would love to work with Ishii again. Or, well, in singles for the first time. I've wrestled him in a couple of multi-mans. So Ishii is one of those guys, and I do feel like there is some sort of cool aura about a big match with Shibata somewhere down the line. I hate getting beat up. It's not fun, but I understand that sometimes people like watching guys just kick the crap out of each other. And I can do that sort of thing when the time comes. So if it comes down to it and that happens, then, well, I'll give you guys at least a 4.75 star match out of those two. That's almost a guarantee, by the way.
Thank you. Okay. Next question, please. Just down here.
Do you have any fears of the Bullet Club becoming like the NWO with too many members?
I do not, because it already has happened. That's exactly why we made the Elite. Come on, guys. The Elite is something I have complete creative control over. There will only be ever 3 members. That is it. It's just myself, Matt, and Nick Jackson. The Bullet Club, I mean, we have guys that are coming into their own and they're getting better. 2 years ago, someone like Tama Tonga may not have even been considered a contender. But if I'm to speak honestly, Tama and his brother are doing very well as a tag team now. And I'm really proud of how they've grown. Yes, we do have too many members, and unfortunately, on any pro wrestling card, you can't have one completely dominant faction in every match unless you're Los Ingobernables. That's just, what can you do? You can only work with what you're given. So at this point, it's like, how do you remedy that situation? I don't know. Because it's already out of my hands, it's already gone out of control. So, even though I am a Bullet Club member, I guess I'm considered the boss and the leader. I am primarily just a member of the Elite. Please don't forget that.
I believe we have a question over here.
My question is, who do you think is the most talented performer that you've faced in your career, and why would you say that?
Oh. Okay. Tag team, it's easy, it's Young Bucks. I don't even have to think twice. The most stupidly athletic, you tell him to do something and he can not only do it the way you want him to, he'll do it better than the way you ever thought he could, that's Ibushi. And then someone where I just felt like I had unbelievable chemistry with, and his creativity and his mind for wrestling it made me more passionate about trying to make matches more creatively to compete with him. That would be Sami Zayn. And then the person where it makes me upset at how easy wrestling is to him, where I have to think and kill myself to compete with his caliber of matches, is AJ Styles. He does it too easily, and AJ not trying is, I have to kill myself to get to a level of AJ just punching his card in and doing his job. So when people say you know, that I might be the best in the world or whatever, that's because I've killed myself to get that. And I think, you know, I know AJ, and he'll probably try to do something that tops what I've done this year, because that's just who he is. So I'm gonna feel like crap when he tops me this year. So, but I look forward to it. It's a very mutual competition, friendly competition we have between each other now. But wrestling has always come a lot easier to him than to me. So I'm envious of that.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, up next. Yeah.
During your match at Wrestle Kingdom, did it feel special to you? Did you have this feeling that you would make history? And how long after the match did you realise the buzz and the stir that you caused online?
No. I mean, it felt, sometimes matches that feel special to me don't necessarily resonate the same way with people that have watched the match. I can give a perfect example. In the G1, I absolutely loved my match with Yano. And if you guys haven't seen it, it was maybe my only strictly 100% comedy match that I've done in New Japan. But it felt so good to show that side of me to the people and to have them enjoy it. You know, from a star rating perspective, sure, it wasn't like 4 or 5 or whatever, but for me it was just so much fun, and I was glad I could show that different side of myself. So even though I'd felt that, okay, this match is special and it means something to me, I didn't know how other people were accepting it. And plus I had my family in the crowd too, so I was actually worried about how they were seeing the match, because this is the first time they'd seen me live. And I had taken some damage in this match, and I know that, you know, my mother she'd been scared and very upset with me. So, you know, I'd kind of forgotten about it because I'd felt this magic in the ring. But then once the match is over, the Bucks were like, hey, do you want to maybe like check on your mom? And I was like, oh, that's right. Oh boy. And I was like, no, get me out of here. So yeah, it was more like worry for the first little bit. And then, yeah, and then I guess I saw the feedback. So yeah, to answer your question.
Okay, I believe we have time for just a few more questions, some burning questions. Yes, over here.
What son? How's it going? Basically, if you did go into NXT,
yes,
how would you feel about it? But also, do you feel like you're going there or straight into the main roster?
That is a very good question. I know NXT is kind of like the indie darling promotion of WWE. However, I have maybe next to 0% interest in going to NXT, to be honest. I don't feel... I feel like what... No, I'm just saying that it does not jive with the goals I have in mind for myself and my career to go to NXT. As much as, you know, as great as a guy like Bobby Roode is, or Samoa Joe, or Shinsuke Nakamura,
You're better than that.
I could go my entire career from this point on, not wrestle those guys, and I wouldn't feel like I missed something. And I don't mean disrespect to them, I just feel that I'm on borrowed time. My style is very physical, and you know, I push myself very hard and to the limit all the time to try to change wrestling and to give people a reason to subscribe to a New Japan World or a WWE Network. I understand that what we do isn't always cool, so I want to give you all a reason to find it cool again. And it's tough on me, so I want to make sure that when I do these high-risk matches and when I push myself beyond my boundaries, that there's a point. And doing that in NXT, just for me, would seem like a little bit of a waste.
Okay, folks, 2 more questions. Let's go down there.
In one of his recent shoot interviews, Jim Cornette had some quite negative views on your style.
Yes.
What's your feelings on Jim Cornette?
Okay, I will say one thing, and this is actually, this is one of the things that upsets me about Cornette, is that I know he doesn't sincerely feel the way that he says about me, because let's face it, I'm just an easy target right now. I am not signed to a contract with WWE, so he can bury me all he wants, and he knows he's going to get attention for it because no one otherwise cares about him. That's a sad truth. And anytime he tries to make an argument about me, he brings up this story, which is a lie, about how I had emailed a picture of my broken ankle to ROH, no show to show, and in place of that show, wrestled in Japan. That's not true. What is true is that I emailed a picture of some diseased ankle that I thought was funny. But the truth was my ankle really was hurt, but I thought it would be funny if I sent a picture of it being way worse, just because the booker at the time was delirious, and I thought we were kind of, boys that way. And yes, I was in Japan when I mailed that picture. And then when he says that he then read on the results that I had worked somewhere, well, it's a half-truth. I did do something. And it wasn't wrestling a match. It was limping up on stage to collect my Match of the Year trophy. So, Jim Cornette uses that always to start his arguments about me. And then he spouts off a lot of nonsense just to get attention and direct hits and views to himself. And of course, you're going to have some old school fans or hipster guys that are going to want to say, yeah, I totally agree with you. Kenny Omega sucks. His match wasn't 6 stars, it was 0 stars, or minus 5 stars, or whatever. It doesn't bother me, but what bothers me is that he is out to maliciously attack people just to forward his own career or lack thereof. And those types of people I can't respect whatsoever. No one on this planet should ever do that. You should never bury someone to forge your own personal interest. And I would never do that to anyone else on the planet. So for a guy like Jim Cornette, what he says doesn't bother me, but the type of person that he is bothers me. And I don't respect him. I can comfortably say that I very much dislike a person like Jim Cornette. So the day that he disappears from this business permanently, I think would be a happy day for pro wrestling.
Thank you. Okay, so our final question, someone who hasn't asked a question yet. Any takers? Yes, right up here. Yes, sir.
In the last year or two, there's been a lot of people signed to WWE who've been allowed to keep their own name, like Shinsuke and Samoa Joe and Bobby Roode. But apparently, they're starting to move more towards a rebranding people like they used to, like when Finn Balor signed and Kevin Owens.
Right.
Would that be a deal breaker for you? Do you think you have to be Kenny Omega? Do you think you have to bring that brand? Or do you think that you could succeed under a different moniker?
Ooh, very good question. I really do feel like at this point it would be very tough, I think, for people to recognize me as anything other than Kenny Omega. I mean, I guess you could change my moniker. I don't have to be the cleaner or whatever. I like to look at it sort of in the light that Sami Zayn came into NXT. I think people really wanted to see El Generico. I really do think so. And I think that there was a missed opportunity and the fans would have loved him even more as El Generico. And now, you have Sami Zayn, who is arguably one of the greatest wrestlers on the roster, and yet the fans don't gravitate with who he is so much. Not as much as they could. And I do think that had he come in as El Generico, what everyone knew him as and loved him as, they could have made a lot more money off of him. It's just missed opportunity for millions of dollars for a company who, the bottom line is always dollars and cents. So I know that WWE loves to own everything. They love to have creative control. However, I think to sign with WWE, there's more money in Kenny Omega than, Relic Schuster, or you know what I mean? Like, what? Just insert stupid name here, because they're not actually good at naming people, if you haven't noticed. I really do think, and I would argue it to my grave, that, you'd have to really buy Kenny Omega. That Kenny Omega is where the money is. People know me as that. And I even feel that it would be difficult at this point for me to even respond to someone else. When someone's calling me out in a promo or something. Let's say my name was Benny, or not even Benny, let's say Kyle. Like, hey, Kyle. What? You guys ever see The Simpsons, that episode where they switch his identity to Mr. Sampson or whatever? Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly, yeah. It'd be like that kind of scenario. It's just, I've done it for so long, the entire 16 years of my career. I was in developmental, and I was still Kenny Omega in developmental, so it would be so strange to just suddenly go against the grain and change that. So I would really try to fight hard to just be myself.
Thank you, everyone. Please show your appreciation for Kenny Omega.
Thank you for coming. It was very fun to speak very candidly with each and every one of you. That's maybe one of the first times I've done that. And there were some very, very good questions. I do a lot of podcasts, and it's usually the same stuff over and over again. But this one was fun because there's a lot of things I've never actually had a chance to talk about. So thank you very much, everyone.